Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Good to see such a large audience being here. I'm assuming that a lot of people here are people who are either interested in entrepreneurship or already entrepreneurs or being part of the ecosystem. So today, I, Vidit Atre, founder and CEO of Meesho, I think what I'll do is share some of the learnings from my journey and also give some time at the end for all of you to ask me questions, anything that can help you. But I think before that, I just want to kind of congratulate T-Hub on this amazing launch, this amazing summit. I think the building looks fabulous, but just the whole program, the intent with which all of this has been done, I think really is important, and also talks about how the startup ecosystem has come of age, right? Like when we started 7 years ago, like my parents didn't even know the word startup. And now I think everyone in the ecosystem, the Telangana government, kudos to them, they kind of growing this enthusiasm, being the catalyst of growing the ecosystem in the state, I think is definitely commendable. So I want to congratulate them on the launch today. So I think before I go to the learnings, want to kind of talk about some bit of what we do at Meesho. Some of you would know, I hope some of you have bought from us or know people around you who bought from us. But Meesho is an e-commerce platform focused on bringing the small business economy of India online. So as of today, over the last 12 months, we have more than 100 million consumers who have bought from the platform. We have more than 500,000 small businesses across all kinds of categories, be it fashion, lifestyle, beauty, personal care, electronics, anything and everything that you think about it. Like go online, become successful. Majority of sellers who sell on the platform today, the Meesho platform has become the single source of, or the majority source of livelihood for them. So we take a big pride in the kind of things we've been able to achieve for the small business economy, but we're just getting started. India has 60 million plus small businesses across the country, and we still have only 500,000 of them. So we're just getting started on the journey. But we started this business back in 2015. Sanjeev, who's my co-founder today of Meesho, both of us were batchmates from college, knew each other for a very long time, started up for one single reason. We started Meesho for one reason, that is, both of us came from middle class backgrounds. All our lives bought from small businesses around us. And in 2015, we looked around and we said e-commerce in India has been there for about 7-8 years. And I can't find a single small business around us in Bangalore that is selling online. And if that's the case, there must be something structurally wrong that no one else is solving that we should go deep into and we will solve. Now, the only problem was that we were 24-year-olds, both of us, who have absolutely zero idea of what e-commerce means, retail means, small business means. But we knew that this is a large problem that will keep us excited, something that we relate with, something that we believe in. And I think sometimes entrepreneurship is exactly about this. You're passionate about a problem, you have no idea how will you solve it, and you get onto this journey. So back in 2015, both of us said, we will do this. We will get India's small businesses online. If you ask me at that point in time how, I have no answer, but we said we will figure it out, like we solved some of the other problems. And at that point in time, we started to do the things that we thought should be the first step. We started to go to these small shops around us in Bangalore, and we'll sit there from morning to evening, observe some of these shop owners and ask them, tell us what your problems are. Like why are you not going online? Because online is the channel of the future. Everyone knows it. And I think after COVID, everyone believes in it. But at that point in time, a lot of people didn't understand. So we said, what problems do you have? We will solve it and we will bring technology into it. And we used to sit morning to evening in shops trying to understand what the problems some of these small businesses face. After like months, we realized a lot of these small businesses they have like local customer base and they are not interested in selling beyond. So the first product we built, at that point in time, it was called Fashioneer. We launched it thinking that we will help some of these small businesses acquire local customers. We did that for about 6 months and we miserably failed, like big time. So this is not working. We figured out, we learned from that big failure. We learned that we were solving at this point in time the problem only for the small business, forgetting about the other side, which is the consumer altogether. Like when you go to a customer and they look at online, they want large selection. Just seeing stuff from their local area is not exciting enough. Why should they buy? They can go on large e-commerce website and see everything. So is that learning number one? Like we have to be very, very close to both the consumers as well as the small businesses. Then we went back to these small businesses. We said, let us figure out what other problem can we solve for them. And interestingly, at that point in time, we figured out that a lot of these small businesses were leveraging WhatsApp to sell to their existing customer base. So they will create WhatsApp groups, add all the people who ever buy from them, and keep sending them all the new stuff they have in their shop. So we said, it's very interesting. A lot of them are having their shops on WhatsApp. Can we really enable this type of commerce to go like big and enable every small business in India to do this? That's when the first version of Meesho was born. We built an app which enabled them to kind of create a simple shop on WhatsApp, manage payments, manage orders, etc., etc., etc. And we started to go to these small shops and give them this tool and say, why don't you use this? You will start to kind of sell on WhatsApp. Your customer will buy more from you and so on. And again, we did this for a year and miserably failed again. Like no one was using this app because they said, I have no intention of going on WhatsApp. I'm very happy with whatever customer comes to my shop. Very few number of people wanted to go on WhatsApp. This is again back in 2016. Now we see everyone selling on WhatsApp. We miserably failed again. Because the problem that we were solving, we were trying to change behavior where the behavior had no intention to shift. And we were not solving a core problem for small business, either in terms of reducing cost or increasing revenue. We said, okay, fine, like this did not work. Let us figure out what will work. And at that point in time, we realized there are a lot of these small native online small businesses who have never started an offline shop. They started their small business for the first time only online on WhatsApp. And they loved our product. They loved what we had built. So we said, forget about these existing offline shopkeepers. Can we go and serve these online native small businesses? And we started to call them Meesho entrepreneurs. And we realized most of them were women. Like most of them were women. Who are they? In India, sadly, India's labor participation rate of women is extremely low, especially smaller, like lower in even the large cities. And a lot of these women are very educated, very ambitious, and have a dream of starting something of their own so that they gain a professional identity, they become financially independent, which is very, very important. But for them to start a business of their own, they need some capital on day one, which is very hard to get. So what we were able to do with our product unknowingly was enable like these millions of women to start a business of their own on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on other social platforms without putting a single rupee of investment. And we started to then just promote this app among women. I think in a couple of years, we had more than 5 million women across the country running their shops on WhatsApp. And the stories, I think that used to come along with this. I think more than numbers, like numbers don't inspire you as much unless you see stories. These are stories of all kinds of people. Like these are stories of women who are in Uttar Pradesh, who are saying that, hey, my family has asked me not to leave the house because of some cultural reason, they're not allowed to go out of the house. But they're very educated, they want to do something of their own, and because of our platform, they're now running a business of their own, have income where they don't have to go and ask their husband for every single rupee, and that is super empowering. And when we hear stories like this, then we know that what we are doing really matters in this world. And I think that's basically happened. Now, if I reflect back on the story I just talked about, there are multiple patterns that could be taken back as learnings, I think, for all of you. One is, as my good friend Harsha was talking about, I think success always comes after like lots and lots of failure again and again. Like our first 2 products failed miserably, and we just kept building on for the first 2 years without nothing coming out, right? But we really believed in the vision that we had. We believe that India's small businesses at some point in time will come online, right? How, again, we don't know, but they will come online. So we will keep trying. Even if we fail 100 times, we will keep trying again and again because we believe it will work the next time. So I think that always happens. And for it to really work, you need to have co-founders and a team that believes in the vision and believes in the team, because like every single time you will fail, they will not second guess whether they should go back and do a job, right? Like they need to stick with you and say, hey, whatever happens, I'm here. So the kind of like partners you pick in your business, the kind of first 10 people you hire in a business are most important. I've seen companies go either way, mostly in those phases. Like sometimes You fail first time, second time, and then they start to feel around, okay, hey, I'm not earning any income, my family is putting pressure on me, I don't know if this will work out. They just leave and go back to doing what they were doing earlier. Whereas teams where there is a very high amount of trust, they really believe in the vision, in the problem statement that we are solving, I think the patience to live with failure until you really achieve success is much higher, and it is very, very important. I think another very important learning for us is, again, like we were two very young people starting up a business with absolutely no background of business. We have never done this problem before. So obviously we struggled a lot in our early days to raise capital. But I think what we were able to do is we were able to use some of these problems as really big opportunities. So we started in 2015, 2016. That was not a great time for Indian startup ecosystem. Like mostly it was much harder to raise money if you were doing a business. So what happened at that point in time, a lot of people who started startups in 2015 were shutting down their startups in 2016. So there were lots and lots of people who are amazing talent, ex-entrepreneurs. So the first 10 people that we hired, every single one of them was an ex-entrepreneur. And this was an amazing talent pool, which is very hard to get at any point in time. And the reason I'm talking about this learning, because I believe we can be in the same moment again in 2022, where everyone is talking about all the negative news that comes with, hey, the funding ecosystem may not be as much and many other things. This can be a great time for someone who's starting up. You'll be able to get talent that was much harder to get last year, right? And they are very hungry people, like people who just started companies, failed. They really want to prove it to themselves. And I think one thing that we did at that point in time is to leverage this opportunity. In 2016, our first 10 people were ex-entrepreneurs and did amazingly well. And they were only aligned to really making the business successful, really achieving the vision that we had, and nothing else. The third thing maybe I want to talk about before I wrap up and open up for questions is the importance of culture, right? Like, so culture, when the team is very small, like 5, 10, 15, 20 people, culture is mostly very unsaid and distributes by role modeling by the founders. Like whatever the founders say yes to, encourage, discourage, starts to become the unsaid behavior which is right in the company. And I think we also did not think about culture at all in the first 2 years. But when the company starts to become larger, when you have more and more people in the company, what starts to happen is people behave in ways that are not very consistent with your own value system. Right? You really believe in things to be, certain things to be right, certain things to be wrong, but you don't even know what is the 50th person is doing at some point in time. So there's a story, which is, I think that's when I realized that it is very, very important for us. I think we would have become a 70, 80 member team. I was going up in our office lift and I heard two team members of ours talking to each other. One person was saying, okay, I threatened a supplier to get the rate chart that we wanted and was really taking pride in this. And to me, I think I felt very jolted. It felt, I was heartbroken that we did not build a company where people take some of these ways to get the outcome that they wanted, right? Like we always build this company by being extremely customer centric. And by customer, I mean both small businesses, consumers. We started this company to really make all of them successful. And taking something, like taking away, which is not correct, is definitely not in line with our value system. So the first thing that we did, right after that happened, we came back, both Sanjeev and I, who are the co-founders of Meesho, and we sat down and we said what our values are. And we will write it down in a culture doc. And from now on, do everything to make sure that every single person in the company is in line with these values. And whoever is not, will not come in. Whoever we hire in the company, we will make sure that they are in line with these values. Even if they are like super achievers, but not in line with these values, we will not get them in. And if you ask me today we are 2,100 people in Meesho. I think this has really worked well for us. Like just making sure that every single person who comes in the company is in line with your values, is in line with your vision, with your passion. I think that becomes extremely important. So yeah, I think these are some of the learnings that I hope you find useful in your journey as well from our journey at Meesho. Thank you so much. Yes, so any questions?
Hi.
Yes.
This is Syed Ali here, founder of Mindweb AI. We are a research firm. So sir, what is your views on personalization and like automation in e-commerce space?
Yeah, I believe, by the way, that personalization, especially in Indian e-commerce, is very important. And let me give you a reason. So India is a very heterogeneous country. Like every single city, every single state behaves very different. When they come to an app, what kind of things they search for, what kind of price points they buy, what kind of languages are they comfortable with, everything changes. Like every 2 kilometers, they're saying that food, culture, language, everything changes. So when people come to our app from Chennai and from Hyderabad, they search for very different things and the kind of things they want, the kind of price points they want at it. So I believe in India, if you really want to have one single app that serves the entire country, you cannot do it without personalization, without machine learning. So it's very, very important for Indian context.
And how do you segment like like I think you have a lot of products you have, and how do you segment that products?
So again, we use a lot of machine learning and AI there. Like we have a large data science team that has been working on this problem. It's always WIP because your models keep getting better as you have more and more data. So I think we've become better than where we were like 1 year ago, but are we where we eventually want to be? The answer is no. I think we'll still get there. The segmentation always happens from the models getting better, the model learning from all the data that you have in your system and so on.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi Vidit, this is Ritesh. How do you see the impact of ONDC launch with all the effort that you've done, put together in terms of accumulating so many small business entrepreneurs into your ecosystem?
Yeah, I think ONDC, by the way, we believe is a very, very big step for multiple reasons. One is, I think it, first of all, just highlights that everyone in the country, including the government, really believes in bringing the smallest of small business in India, including kirana stores and retailers. I think which is very important. So when we started, I think we used to struggle with this. For example, today, like the smallest of kiranas cannot come online and sell because they don't have GST registration. So we have different rules for all online and offline. ONDC is trying to again lobby for some of this to change. So I believe that the mission and the vision that we have of helping small businesses is going to become like even more accelerated with ONDC coming in because it will build infrastructure, it will help like convey some of the policy measures that are really important for small business economy to come online. And we've been partnering with them. So we will partner with them. We'll make sure that we are able to leverage all the kind of things they are building to accelerate this small business economy coming online in India. So I believe it's a big step that should help everyone, like consumers, businesses, e-commerce, everything in the ecosystem in the coming years.
Hi Vidit.
Hi.
This side.
Yes.
This is Hitendra from Sagritech. So we are at a MVP stage right now. So my question is to you for how many investors you have reached out at your very early stage, and how many investors have given you time for meeting, and how many actually wrote the check? I mean, obviously one, but how was the journey?
So as I was saying, I think unfortunately or fortunately, we started the company back in 2015. And I think 15 and 16, before this cycle, was maybe the toughest period for the entire ecosystem to raise money. So we struggled a lot. Like our first angel round, when we raised about 1 crore, and it's very hard to even like do anything today. You can't hire even like 2-3 engineers from there. Took us about 8 months to do it. And everyone said no, every single person we met, and eventually some of our college seniors gave us some money to get started. And even that got finished very, very soon, in about a year. And then we again struggled to kind of raise money. But at that time, I think because we were going through all of this, we just kept figuring out a way to survive the next day. And I think that's very, very important. So when we ran out of money again, our team started to do some gig projects for some other company so we can make some revenue so that we can survive for the next few months while we prove out that our product really works. And we did that as well. Because during that time, every single person that we met in the ecosystem, be it VCs, angels, said no. That we don't believe that e-commerce on WhatsApp can be a large company everywhere in India. But we said we believe in it, so we will keep figuring out a way to survive. And our team was like extremely adamant. They said we will figure out some way. So I still remember we did some projects. We built e-commerce website for some companies in north of India, earned enough revenue to again survive for the next 6 months while building out a core product, showing more and more traction. And eventually investors started to see value because they're saying there's a company which does not have money, consistently is growing every month for the last 6-9 months. And we eventually raise money, right? So you have an MVP, like lots of investors meet you, don't meet you, doesn't matter, right? Like if your product continues to grow and delivers on the promise that it has to your customers, to anyone else, everything else will fall into place. Just stay at it and keep figuring out a way to survive next month, next quarter, next year. I think that's what matters.
Hi, Vidit. Sorry. Hi. Myself, Shekhar. I have a similar story. I'm an Oxford alumni and a British citizen. I moved to India a couple of years ago to create employment, and I'm doing it at large scale. I run a company called as V1, and we provide integrated facility management solutions to quite a lot of firms across the country now. So there is a quick question, considering your startup, we have a similar story to share. So there is always, contingency versus scaling up. They're indirectly proportional. How do you bridge that gap within your core team? And how do you, this difference of, there's a lot of stakeholders who come into picture, and there's a lot of market dynamics affect these decisions and all. So how do you define contingency versus scaling up?
And can you define what do you mean by contingency in your context?
Well, contingency is about exit, just taking the basic steps and not going aggressive about business. And scaling up is going aggressive about, what we're going to explore and, getting into new markets.
Correct. And the point I was trying to make is when you are capital starved, you behave very differently. You say, what do I do, which is the minimum basic, not for the business to stay flat, because then no one knows whether it's working, right? Like without consuming any capital.
That defines consolidating the steps, so when do you go about the next launch? When do you go about the next launch? Yeah.
Correct. And you have to figure out where do you get those resources. So even when we did not have capital, the one I'm talking about, we doubled every month for 9 months. We did that without having access to any capital. We doubled every month. So I'm saying, because we wanted to show to investors and everyone else that this business really works, and there's so much pull that people are coming back again and again. And we did that, and we consistently did it. So you will have to make sure your business scales, right? Like contingency, if it's all maintenance, will not work, right? Like you have to keep innovating irrespective of how much resources you have. You'll have to figure out what you do. That's why in the beginning, I think the first 10 people that you hire, which I was talking about, should not be just on money, right? Like they should come, be much more generous with ESOPs, make sure you get great talent without spending a lot of money, because you can. And they will come because they really believe in what you're doing. So I think that's what matters. But the business has to keep growing, because that's when people realize that this model really works and can become very large.
That was the last question. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, one last thing.
Vidit will
kind
be
of
joining you very shortly in the networking lounge. You can directly ask him, but we have more speakers also waiting. Right now.
That 1 minute gonna impact our company and also many people and also the Misho. And thanks for the chance. Hi sir, I'm Gagan. I'm the co-founder of V1 Infra, and also I'm associated with a company called 91 Signage Ads. So we're gonna start from next month. So as you are facing a problem with the Kirana and many other stores, in next month we're gonna install almost 200 devices in many other stores, including Kirana and Mr. T Points, and we associate with many franchises. So we are taking few things. We are taking few startups where they want to grow. We want to advertise your company for free for a couple of days in all our devices, almost 200 to 500. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vidit. Please join us in the center of the stage. I request Ms. Rakshan from T-Hub to please hand over the token of gratitude on behalf of the entire T-Hub management. And a very important lesson that Vidit has given us: the failure is not the opposite of success, but it is part of success. Thank you so much, Vidit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in our country, Atithi Deva Bhava, all of us, all of you are our guests. I request all of you to please remember to keep drinking water and also join us in the coffee lounge for a little refreshment break. We'll be joining back here for the next session in 10 minutes. Thank you so much.